Let's talk about slide masters. Every presentation you create will have a slide master. A slide master will contain at least one layout. You can add multiple slide masters to a given presentation. All of these different masters can be completely different in their design, color, and shape and slide orientation. If you have 3 slide masters in one presentation, a couple of those slide masters may not have any layouts inside of them, but at least one of the masters will have at least one layout. But of course, each master can have multiple layouts, hundreds in fact. When I speak of layout, I'm talking about a slide layout. Here I have a brand new presentation. You can see it's just called Presentation 1. It hasn't even been saved yet. To view the master of this presentation or any presentation, you go to your View menu and you look for, on the left, the icon or the button called SlideMaster, and you click on it and it opens up in the SlideMaster. Another method of moving into the SlideMaster of a presentation is to use the shortcut keys. So you don't want to hold these keys down at the same time. You want to press the Alt key once, let it go, press the W once, let it go, and then press the letter M, and that'll move you into the master. Likewise, Alt, let go, W, let go, L moves you back out. Still a third method, which is my preferred method, is to come down here and look for the normal view button, or what is called also the slide view button. And if you hold down your shift key and click this, it will also move into the master. Without the shift key, if you just click the normal button by itself, you go out of the master. Now let's take a look at something here. If I hold my shift key and click on this once, and this was the same whether I'm using the shortcut key or the menuing system, when you move into the master, you're not actually going to be on the slide master. You're going to be on one of the layouts in the master. And if I put my pointer on top of this thing, it tells me it's the title slide layout used by slide 1. The actual master, if you scroll up, is up here at the very top. That's the slide master. These are the layouts that exist underneath the master. We'll talk about those in just a minute. I'm going to move out of my master back into my slide view. Now, if I hold my shift key and click twice on the normal button, 1, 2, it moves me to the actual slide master. I don't have to scroll to the top. I am there. Now when I'm in SlideMaster view, you can see I have my slide master and I have these different layouts underneath. Now what is a layout? A layout is just a set of placeholders on a given slide. They're predefined. So in this case, this is a title slide layout and it's used by one slide. This guy is a title and content layout used by no slides. This guy is a section header layout used by no slides. And if I scroll all the way to the bottom, there are a couple at the very end called title and vertical text layout, and also vertical title and text layout used by no slides. You will not ever see these or use these unless you're using either Chinese, Japanese, or Korean language pack within your PowerPoint or your Windows. So these are just used for that type of lettering. Not lettering, but the Chinese, Korean, or Japanese symbols that they use for their language. So you can just delete these layouts if you want. They're not used by any slides, of course. I can right click and just choose delete layout, right click this guy and choose delete layout. Now if you count these, you'll see that I have 9 different layouts. And if I'm back in my slide view and I'm on a slide, I can come out here and I can choose which one of these 9 layouts I'd like to use. So if I'd like the title slide, which is the default, I can use this guy. If I want to use comparison, it adds a couple of placeholders plus a title. If I want to use a different layout, like just a blank layout with nothing, I can use that. I could also come out and choose picture with caption. I'll go back to my title layout. So each one of the layouts you choose here, which is just placeholders that you have, also represents the layouts that you're seeing back here in your slide master. Of course, you can create your own custom layouts, and you can delete any of these layouts as long as they're not being used by any of the slides in your presentation. Go see my video on creating custom layouts. Now here are the basic rules about the masters. Anything I place on the slide master shows up on every single slide in my presentation. This would be used for company logos, for footers, or anything that you want to show up, have a consistent look throughout your presentation, a background color, whatever you consider. Anything you place on a layout only shows up when you use that layout, when you apply that layout to a given slide. So if for a given layout, like maybe a blank layout, I want to have a frame on it, I would put a frame on my blank layout down here. And then anytime I use that layout on a slide, it will pick up whatever's on this layout in the master. Let's see an example of this. I will come up to my SlideMaster, I will right-click the background and choose Format Background. For the background, I'm going to choose a gradient fill, and I'll choose a different color for my gradient fill. And as you can see, it shows up on every one of my layouts as well as the master. Close this. If I go to Insert and create a shape, or choose a shape from my palette, maybe a star, hold down my Shift key and just create a little star, and I'll put this up in the top left corner. As you can see, it shows up in the master here, but it also shows up in every single one of my layouts here. If I move to my title and content layout and I click on the title, I could change the color of the text in the title. I will go ahead and make it red, I will make it bold, and I'm going to go ahead and move this title down and swivel it a little bit like so. And now that's been changed on this layout. If I go to, say, my blank layout and I come out here and insert, say, a shape, I'll just choose a rectangular shape and I'll draw this out here, and I'll right click and I'll fill it with no fill. Now I have a border around this blank object, this blank layout. Now if I move back to my master, or rather my slide view, I can see that I only have one slide, but it picks this guy up. However, if I were to come out here and change the layout to, say, the title and content, it would look like this because I changed that title and content. If I change the layout to, say, the blank layout, it would have just that border around it. So if I want to add a couple more slides to this presentation, I could say New Slide, Title and Content. I could say New Slide, Blank Slide. And then I have two new slides, each with encompassing the other layouts that I modified a moment ago. Now if I move back into my master, I can certainly come out here and I could pick one of my layouts and I could right click it and choose to copy it, and then just click down below it, right click, and choose to paste and keep the source formatting. And basically what this does is it'll create a whole new master out here with the layout included. I'll just come out here and I'll delete this master. I could also just click this guy and drag it down, hold my control key, and it'll just make a copy of the layout. So one more time, if I just click this guy and drag it with my mouse, and I'll pull it down below, hold my control key, let go of my mouse first, that'll make a copy of this layout. So I could have a different blank layout with maybe different colorings or something else on the slide different from my first blank layout. And of course, after the fact, if I were to make changes to the items or colorings that I placed on the master, so perhaps I'll come back out here, I'll go to Format Background, and instead of yellow, I'll go ahead and make this like a blue color, then that change is going to take effect. If I come out to this guy and maybe straighten it out, but I'll move it down here to the bottom for whatever reason, and I could go ahead and make a change to the color on this guy's as well. So maybe I'll make it like a dark purple color, whatever. And I'll come out to my blank slide and maybe change the thickness of this border. Whatever you like. You can just make a change to this guy. And certainly when you come back out to your slide view, you can see that those slides have now picked up the changes that you made. Starting with another blank presentation, I'm going to come out here and move to the master. And what I'm going to do, since there are no slides using this guy? Well, rather what I think I'll do first is just come out here, click on this first slide and delete this slide. So here's a presentation that doesn't have any slides in it at all. But still, you have a master out here. Now since I don't have any slides in the presentation, that means I'm not using any layouts, of course, so I can just delete all the layouts that I have here. And I'm all the way back to just my slide master. If I come out to my slide master and completely delete the contents out of here, now I have a master with no contents and I have a presentation with no slides in it. However, if I move back to my slide view, you will see that as soon as you add a slide, you're going to get some form of a layout here, and if you move into your master, you can see it's going to apply this layout, which is just going to be a title slide layout. That's put in by default. So even if you completely clear it out, it's got to give you something to work with. So this is basically the bare bones minimum that you can start with when you're creating a new presentation.